Ms. Pugh, just because you say respectfully does not mean that you get to interrupt me. That's disrespectful, right? Hang on. Listen, Ms. Pugh, stop talking over me. If you want to stop talking over me.
Where is the verified claim that is being placed against my trust?
You can go back with the bailiff. Go back with the bailiff. Get your own attorney or represent yourself if you don't like it.
All right, guys. Today, we've got a no-nonsense judge facing off against a clueless sovereign citizen. This girl waltzed into court armed with nothing but a tiny scrap of paper filled with the usual sovereign citizen nonsense, convinced she'd drop some legal bombshells and walk out scot-free. Spoiler alert. She didn't. Honestly, I'm shocked she even managed to read her script. This courtroom clash is one for the books, and you won't believe how it unfolds. Let me know in the comments what you think of this bizarre showdown. Now, let's dive in and watch as this chaotic hearing takes an unexpected turn.
You're the what?
I'm the beneficiary of the estate.
You're the beneficiary of what estate? Answer my questions, please, ma'am. I'm just trying to understand.
Beneficiary of the estate.
Okay.
For the record, I recognize Ms. Pugh. She's been here before.
I do as well, for the record.
And I looked into Mr. Christopher Wiley. I can't find that person as a practicing lawyer in the state bar page, and I have not been contacted by anybody on Ms. Pugh's behalf.
All right, so Ms. Pugh, Mr. Lewis has been appointed to represent you at this point. Obviously, you know as well as anyone that you're in custody and we want to get your case taken care of. If you've hired or your family has hired another lawyer, then they have to contact the court so that we can do something with your case. And do you know if they've hired someone?
Respectfully, Your Honor, I do not agree with your appointed foreign agents, considering that the first duty is to the state and will be considered conflict of interest. You know?
Okay, so if you don't want, the only thing I can do, I'm appointing an attorney to you to help you, right? So if you don't want a court-appointed attorney, then your only option, two things. One is to represent yourself or to hire a lawyer. So if you don't like the way it works, then you do something different. So are you, listen to what I'm saying. Are you either going to represent yourself, or are you going to let Mr. Lewis represent you, or are you going to hire someone?
Objection, Your Honor. Respectfully, is this a court of record?
It is a court of record. So your objection's overruled.
Okay. Respectfully, Your Honor, where is the verified claim that is being placed against my trust?
It's right here. It's called an indictment. And Mr. Lewis has a copy of it, and he can show it to you. So that would be the verified claim against you.
Okay. Your Honor, respectfully, Your Honor, there were writs that was filed to the case that still haven't been received.
I've received your petition for writ of habeas corpus, and it's denied.
Okay. Respectfully, Your Honor, I demand to be released due to lack of evidence of stated claim and not being given the proper opportunity to obtain proper counsel defective defense.
It's overruled.
Okay.
You're running out, aren't you?
You're making a complete fool of yourself right now, and we're all loving it. Honestly, I'm really enjoying this judge's attitude. She's just sitting there, patiently waiting for this girl to run out of steam from her ridiculous sovereign citizen script. It's hilarious because these people always think they've unlocked some secret legal cheat code, but that's just not how the law works. Courts have ruled time and time again that simply saying "I don't consent" doesn't magically make charges disappear. That's not how jurisdiction works. What really surprises me, though, is that this sovereign citizen can even read. Because let's be real, that's a rare sighting in this community. But on a serious note, I just have to wonder, how did she even get to this point? What was her thought process? She actually seems like a sweet girl, and she's even addressing the judge as Your Honor. But it's painfully clear she's lost and just grasping at straws. This whole thing is straight up embarrassing. I mean, how does someone fall this deep into the sovereign citizen rabbit hole? It's one thing to read about it, But actually walking into court and trying to use this nonsense is next-level delusion. I just don't get it. Let me know what you guys think about this girl because, honestly, I'm at a loss. But this hearing isn't over yet. Let's dive back in and see how this disaster unfolds.
Appreciate your position, but listen,
Respectfully, Your Honor,
Miss Pugh, don't
with my
speak over me.
incarceration- Respectfully, Your Honor, with my incarceration being
Miss
involved-
Pugh, just because you say respectfully does not mean that you get to interrupt me. That's disrespectful, right? Hang on, listen to me. Everything you have there is overruled. And here's one of the reasons why, is because you have a lawyer. And your lawyer will file the appropriate motion. You're interrupting me again, which is disrespectful. So I'm going to leave Mr. Lewis as your attorney unless you choose to represent yourself or hire someone else. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to determine what you're going to do. You can go back. You can go back with the bailiff.
I do not agree or comply to your appointed
Go back.
agents.
You already said that, and that's overruled.
Duty is to the state.
Go back with the bailiff. Get your own attorney or represent yourself if you don't want.
But hold on, because this isn't over yet. This sovereign citizen actually comes back for another hearing. And don't worry, I've got that one for you too. At this point, I feel like the judge deserves an award for patience. Dealing with a sovereign citizen like this is basically like arguing with a brick wall, except the brick wall thinks it knows constitutional law. Big props to the judge for keeping her cool. She's just sitting there, calmly trying to make sense of all this nonsense, and honestly, I'm here for it. She's definitely being snappy at times, but she's also surprisingly patient, which is fair, I guess. What do you guys think about the judge so far? Personally, I think she's handling this situation really well. But now, let's move on to the next hearing and see if things get even more heated than before. I have a feeling this is going to get even crazier, so let's dive right in.
He's just been given, he's trying to get caught up real quickly on all the information and the discovery in your case. I'm going to reset your case so that he can get all of that. Once he gets it, he'll be out there to go over it with you, and we'll see if we can get an announcement at the next court date.
Respectfully, Your Honor, I do not agree to comply with any of your appointed court agents, considering that their first duty is to the state.
I understand. We've had this conversation before.
Considered confidential, and for your record, I'll be representing myself.
So if you want to represent yourself, there's some things. Ms. Pugh, stop talking over me. If you want to stop talking over me. If you want to represent yourself, then there is a process that we have to go through, and we'll do that today. If that's what you want to do, we'll get your case set for trial and we'll go forward that way. It is highly inadvisable for you to represent yourself. Lawyers have many, many years of training. They understand the law. They understand how a trial works, because here's what happens. When you're in a trial and you represent yourself, you're expected to know and follow all of the rules of evidence, all the rules of procedure. And so you're really at a disadvantage if you don't know those things. And so you have to do everything just like the assistant district attorney would. And if you don't, you're going to be in front of a jury and it's going to show, and it's just not going to be, it usually does not work out in your benefit. But I have to go through with you some questions first before we do that. And then if you still want to do that, then there's a couple of things couple of options, and we'll go over those as well. Okay. So I am supposed to ask you, I'm going to go through these questions. I need you to answer them if you want to represent yourself, because this is required. All right. So have you ever studied the law? Okay. Have you ever represented yourself before in any kind of criminal matter? Okay. Do you understand the charges against you?
I know we've been accused of.
Okay. And so do you know, and we've gone over before, I think, what the range of punishment is if you're found guilty on a jury? Do you know what that is? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me pull you up here. We'll go over that again as well. The date of that allegations from June 22nd of 2021. And what that means is if you're found guilty, that the range of punishment that the jury could give you is between 2 years as a minimum punishment up to 10 years in prison, anywhere in between. Do you understand? And did you answer out loud just for the record?
Do I understand? No, I don't understand.
What do you not understand about it?
I knew she was going to say that. Believe it or not, These sovereign citizens have literally infiltrated my brain. Breaking down these sovereign idiots on a daily basis is honestly draining. I can feel my brain cells disappearing by the second. They're just so insufferable and ignorant that it's almost sad to watch. A lot of them probably struggle with mental health issues, but beyond that, they're also wasting valuable public resources. Courts and law enforcement already have limited time and funding, and these people think they can just clog up the system with nonsense. It's not just annoying, it's a real problem. But on another note, I'm surprised this woman didn't bring her little script this time. In the first hearing, she had it in hand, ready to go. Maybe her time under county jurisdiction taught her to memorize it instead. That said, if she decides to represent herself, she's probably looking at 8 to 10 years. It's not going to end well for her. Let's dive back in and see if she actually plans to defend herself. Because if she does, this is about to get...
So here's the thing. If you want to represent yourself, by law, you have to be able to understand these things. Otherwise, I've got to appoint an attorney for you. So you can't just say, I want to represent myself because I don't like the attorney or I don't like the process. This is the process that you're in. You live in Texas, you live in the United States. This is the law that applies to your case. So what do you not understand about the range of punishment if you're found guilty? And I'd be glad to explain it.
I don't understand because I'm going to be able to do that.
That's what a jury's for, right? And so if you say you're not guilty, then you go in front of a jury and they determine after they listen to the evidence if you're guilty or not. That doesn't have anything to do with if they find you guilty, you understanding that they could send you to prison for between 2 years and up to 10 years. Do you understand that part? What are you, yes or no? No, you don't understand that. So, Ms. Pugh, it's my understanding, I'm not going to allow you to represent yourself because you don't understand the law and the process. So we're on question number 4 out of 15 that I'm supposed to ask you. So Mr. Jeffries is going to stay on your case. I don't care what you want at this point. You can't do it. All right, you can go back with the bailiff. I'm done. Go back with the bailiff. Go back with the bailiff. Welcome to the criminal appointment list.
Yeah, fun, Judge.
This was not meant to be any kind of punishment, I promise. So Mr. Jeffries, get ready like you would. Probably it's going to go straight onto a jury. And we'll just get it figured out that way.
That said, if she decides to represent herself, she's probably looking at 8 to 10 years. It's not going to end well for her. Let's dive back in and see if she actually plans to defend herself. Because if she does, this is about to get even messier. Clips. I think this judge did an absolute 10 out of 10 job. Let me know if I'm wrong, but honestly, I think she did everything in her power to give this sovereign citizen a fair hearing before finally having enough and ripping her out of the courtroom. The patience she showed was seriously impressive. I probably would have lost it in the first 10 minutes, but she kept her cool the entire time. That said, it's kind of sad watching people go through this. The judge genuinely tried to be patient and gave this girl every opportunity to explain herself. But we all knew where this was headed. No amount of "I don't consent" was going to change the outcome. Also, I just want to take a moment to apologize to any of you who may have lost brain cells watching this unfold. I really do feel bad for putting you through the agony of watching a sovereign citizen try and fail to make sense of anything. It's painfully cringy, but at the same time it's just too